Welcome to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy, and today we're going to tell you about Michael Shaver.
Don't forget to smash that like button and go and check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and Facebook. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends.
We good?
What do you mean?
Had some technical difficulties.
No.
This is one that just wrapped up, like in the last week that we are recording, and it's wild. We've talked about some shitty people before, and this one is no exception. So let's get into it. On February 16th of 2018, a man named Scott, who lives in New York, called into the Lake County Sheriff's Office down in Florida. He asked for a welfare check on his buddy, Michael Shaver. Seems that no one had seen him since late 2015, and he thinks that his wife, Laurie, has something to do with that. He told them all of his suspicions that led him to that conclusion, including inconsistent stories of him leaving, strange Facebook posts that they all knew weren't posted by Mike himself, that she remarried quickly after he left, and that a concrete slab and fire pit had been built in the backyard shortly after he left. So the police roll up to the Shaver house and talk to Laurie. She's welcoming. They ask about Mike, and she says that in September of 2014, after they had a domestic violence incident, he packed his stuff and left her and their 2 kids. He moved to Georgia to start a new family. She last saw him in person at the DCF custody trial in 2015. All is going good, and they head out to the backyard to that fire pit. The cop asks if they can bring in a cadaver dog to search it and just put this whole thing to bed. And that's when her demeanor changed. They were no longer welcome at her house.
Yeah, she kicked them out quick.
Yeah, like, hey, sure, come in, check the house, nothing to see here. And the second they talk about the fire pit, get the fuck out. So they start looking into it to see if they have enough to get a search warrant. Now here's a little background. Mike and Laurie had been high school sweethearts back in New York. They started dating in the 7th grade. They graduated in 2001 and married in 2005. They had a daughter in 2008 and a son in 2011. Mike became a commercial pilot and loved it, but apparently he also loved Disney World. So they moved to Claremont, which is 40 minutes away from Disney, into a double-wide trailer on 5 acres. And he started working at Disney. So now let's talk about what the cops found out. They found out that Mike had no current cell phone. His Florida driver's license, passport, and FAA pilot's medical certificate had all expired. They couldn't find a driver's license in any other state for him either. His vehicle had been repossessed in February of 2016, and he had not tagged another vehicle in his name. He defaulted on a credit card, and the card company tried to file a civil suit against him, but they couldn't find him to serve him the papers. So they entered him into the NCIC as a missing person, and the real investigation began.
So it just looks like he dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, everything's expiring. He's not using his cards. It's just like he's gone.
Just disappeared.
Poof. I mean, it's pretty obvious that something is amiss. 3 weeks after the welfare check, so on March 9th of 2018, police come back to Laurie's house with a cadaver dog and ground-penetrating radar. They find the skeletal remains of Michael buried 3 feet down under that fire pit. He was found with socks, shorts, and underwear, and around his body was a tarp, a set of ratchet straps, and the remains of a fitted sheet, a queen-sized sheet sold at Kohl's, which was a favorite shopping place of Laurie. His cause of death was a single gunshot wound to the back of the head, and they found a .38 caliber projectile, so a bullet, in his skull. They got another search warrant and used Blue Star, which is luminol. They got a positive reaction on the track of the sliding glass door leading from the dining area to that back porch, and it appeared to run down the side. They also found hairs in the same area, but they were all pretty degraded, so it was hard to get anything from them.
I imagine it's been 3 years?
Yeah. They're not going to be the best samples. They've been in the elements. They did swab the blood on the door, and it came back with a mixture of 3 different DNAs. Laurie was one of them. They could prove that. The other 2 were unrelated individuals, and at least one was male, but they couldn't include or exclude Mike as a contributor. After they dug up the body, they tell Laurie on the phone what all they took from the property, saying flash drive, a photograph, miscellaneous paperwork, projectiles, and human remains. So as far as all this stuff goes, do you have any questions? She originally says no, but then she says, oh, wait, no, do I have to sign any of the paperwork? Like, no surprise that they just found a body buried in her backyard. And they can't really determine a time of death. They have to guess as to when he was actually killed, saying it was sometime between November 7th of 2015, which was the last day he was seen, and November 10th, when he didn't show up for work. It is believed that he last used his cell phone to make an outgoing call on the 7th at 5:48 p.m. And hell, even Laurie never called his phone after November 3rd. The Shaver family had gone to a tractor show with his coworker Frank and his wife on the 7th. And Frank says that Mike and Laurie didn't seem to be getting along, so they left early. Frank texted him on the 8th and got no response. He texted again on the 9th, and the response he got from Mike's phone said he was quitting his job to save his marriage. Now, this is odd. His boss, John, said that Michael was a reliable employee, in line to become a foreman, and never missed work without calling in.
I thought he was leaving to start a new family, not trying to save his marriage.
Right, like which one is it?
Yeah.
Is he trying to start a new family, or is he trying to save the one he's got? And there's about 11 different stories throughout this case, and none of them make sense. Now, on the 11th, Laurie sent a private message to her sister, Alicia Ray, on her work server saying, Mike left yesterday, packed his stuff, and went to the airport. When Mike didn't show up for work on the 10th or the 11th, his boss, Robert, texted him and got the response, I'm having issues at home, in Georgia right now. Just fire me or I'll quit. I will not be returning anytime soon. And lots of people were getting texts and Facebook messages. Frank was told to keep his tools because he wouldn't be picking them up from work. On the 12th, so this is after they dug up the body, but before they had positively ID'd it as Mike, a postcard with his picture was mailed from Orlando to Laurie with a handwritten message, tell the kids I love them, see you soon, Mike. Now, how'd he send that, I wonder? On the 13th, Frank went to the house, and Laurie told him Mike left and went to Georgia after they got into a fight because Mike had another woman's phone number in his phone. Frank asked how he got to the airport since his truck was still in the driveway. She said his friend Robert picked him up and drove him to Georgia. And his friend Robert said, I definitely did not do that. In fact, Robert was supposed to spend Thanksgiving with the Shavers, but he got a message from Mike saying, leave me alone, don't bother me.
There's so many red flags here already.
I know. And it's about to look like the UN in this bitch by the time we get done.
Weird.
It's just wild. There's so many stories. And then on the 16th, Laurie sent another message to her sister saying she had done tons of yard work that weekend and that she had cleaned up outside. And it wasn't just friends that Mike was telling to leave him alone. In January, his sister reached out to him on Facebook, and the reply she got was, everyone just needs to leave me alone just like they did my entire life. He got a message from his niece under her maiden name. He said he had no clue who she was, and he had no family anymore. Now, this stood out because Laurie wouldn't have known her by her maiden name, only her married name, but Mike would have. So it's shit like this that's red flag, red flag. But you get the picture on how everyone is getting contacted. So now let's talk about financials.
You can learn a lot about a person by how they spend money or don't spend money.
Or don't spend money, right? Mike was pretty exclusive to spending money directly in a store. He was not an online shopper. The last in-person use of his debit card was on November 9th. And that wasn't the last use, though. It was then used online on the 19th and the 23rd at wish.com. The purchases were for female lingerie and clothes that were shipped to Laurie's name and to the Florida house. On November 30th, a check for $2,539 was mailed to Mike. One of those that if you agree to the terms of the loan, you just endorse the check and they will deposit the funds. And then boom, you start making your payments back to them. It was endorsed with an unreadable signature, but had his social and cell phone number. So on December 14th, that money was deposited into his checking account. The electric bill was paid at the Florida house. Some children's items were bought at Walmart.com. I'm thinking probably Christmas presents because it was like $424. And they were shipped to Laurie's name to the Florida house. There was also ATM withdrawals. And by December 30th, the account was overdrawn. 2 weeks is all it took. And that account stayed overdrawn and was never used again. It's kind of odd that Mike would move to Georgia and then switch to only online shopping, but was still able to withdraw money at ATMs in Florida. And he was having everything shipped to Laurie at the Florida house. Isn't that strange?
Yeah, that's a little weird.
That doesn't make any sense. And this is just the money coming in and going out that we can track. Like, who knows what kind of cash was going through there, but we'll actually get into that in a minute.
Yeah. And on that note, and now let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. Do you live in an apartment?
Are you having to go to the laundromat to get questionable stains out of your linens? And tired of getting the side eye because of it?
We have the solution. MyLaundrySolutions.com, to be exact, the #1 choice for washer and dryer rental. Ask your leasing office or schedule online.
Servicing areas in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Springfield and Joplin, Missouri, Little Rock, Arkansas, Sherman, Dallas, Houston, and Lubbock, Texas. No credit check, free service. Your account is available online and they professionally install. Check out MyLaundrySolutions.com or call 800-535-4411 today to stop airing out your dirty laundry in public.
Don't miss out on a great deal.
Yeah, don't miss out on a great deal.
Yep, MyLaundrySolutions.com. Really great company to work with.
Check them out.
Yep. And also, we do have a Cash App?
Cash App. Mm-hmm.
We do have a Cash App. We are not asking you guys to provide anything, but with all this stuff out there, you know, like Patreon and all this other junk.
Subscription every month.
It is like ridiculous. But if you guys do want to help out with, you know, us when we're doing like the research and all this other stuff, it all takes money and everything. So if you guys want to send us $1,
send me $1.
I mean, I'm not asking for $25 or $30 or $5 a month or anything like that. I'm just saying if you want to, great. But I don't want you guys to feel pressured into doing anything.
True. Yeah.
So we do have a Cash App. It's what is it? $murder WTM.
Mm-hmm.
So
no misses.
Yep.
And there's also free ways to help out. Like, share, subscribe. That's why we always say it. If you like us, share us.
Absolutely. We need subscribers. We need sponsors. We need all this stuff. So, I mean, help us out. Like I said, but we don't want to pressure anybody into thinking that, you know, just because you listen to us and everything else, that you got to pay a monthly thing or anything like that, because we're not about that.
Nope.
So if you guys feel like you want to help us out, send us some cash out.
You want to help spread the word on these cases?
Because we want to get to a point where we're actually helping other people.
Yes.
So,
goals.
Yep.
All right, back to the case.
Yep.
Starting in early December, she had been trying and mostly succeeding to sell off all of his shit. A man named Joseph said that around December 6th or 7th, he bought 9 guns from Laurie, including 2 .38 calibers, along with reload equipment and cleaners for $1,000. She told him that her husband left and she didn't know where he went, so she considered them to be hers now. Then said that her husband was an aircraft mechanic and she had just sold his tools the day before for $1,000.
No, not the tools.
The sacred tools.
Do not sell a man's tools.
I can imagine aircraft mechanic tools are pretty expensive.
Well, yeah.
So I bet somebody got a hell of a deal.
Yeah, aircraft. Yeah, I mean, it don't matter. Tools in general.
Yeah, they're expensive.
I mean, especially that little pesky ass 10 millimeter that everybody loses. You know, you can have 50 million freaking 10 millimeters, nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. And then one day you'll find every fucking one of them and then turn right around to go use it, gone.
But you have to buy like a whole set to get that one.
Yeah. The 10 millimeter is like the Bermuda Triangle of all tools.
Not
just
that
saying.
He has personal experience.
Just saying. It is.
She also tried to sell his truck, tractor, even their property. She didn't sell the house, obviously, or the truck since that was repossessed a couple months later. She changed the story every time she told it. Now Michael wasn't in Georgia. He was there in Florida because he was stalking her. On December 3rd, she messaged her supervisor that he had been paying child support, but lost his job and stopped. Now he was in jail for not paying it. Side note here, she had never filed for child support. She told different people that he was in Georgia, some that he was back in New York, and some that he was in California. And don't forget that she did remarry. Sometime between January and April of 2016, she started dating Travis Filmer. He told detectives that Laurie had made the statement about Michael It's not that he's missing. He's no longer walking the earth, saying that something had happened and there was a body on the property. She told him that she divorced from Michael, telling him and his family that Mike was at the divorce hearing just in a separate room. And there was a Capital One charge for $208.90 a few weeks after he disappeared for mydivorcepapers.com, but there was no record that either had ever actually filed for divorce.
She knew that she didn't have to file for divorce papers.
Right, because he wasn't there.
Yeah, or file for divorce.
Right.
Yeah, because there was nothing really to divorce anymore.
Well, he was gone, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
He was in the backyard.
nobody to divorce, nobody, no reason to pay for it.
Exactly.
Now, did she actually have the charge on there?
Yeah, she paid $208 for
So she murders him.
Right.
And then goes on Capital One and pays for the divorce.
Well, she used her credit card, to pay for the papers.
No, I'm not.
But I guess she realized, maybe she Googled, who knows, but she realized that in order to get a divorce, they're going to start looking into where he's at. They're going to try to find him to serve him the papers, right?
Yeah.
So she was probably like, oh, wait, no, I can't do that.
I mean, why not just play he just left and fucking
just
disappeared.
Stick with that,
you know what I mean? He just disappeared.
Stick with that.
I mean, just got up one day and fucking walked out.
Yeah.
There's plenty of freaking people that walk out to go get milk one day and never fucking come back.
Happens. Milk and cigarettes.
Good Lord.
Never see him again. And there were Facebook posts and bank charges found that her and Travis purchased concrete and rented a concrete mixer. So they know that the fire pit was built in March of 2016 and the concrete pad was poured in September that year. Her and Travis's initials are written in the concrete. Isn't that fucking cute? Travis told detectives that Laurie had dug the hole and it was about 3 to 4 inches deep. But the pile of dirt over at the edge of the property line was a lot more dirt than he would have thought possible for it being that shallow. And on December 31st of 2016, New Year's Eve, she married Travis in the backyard.
Her backyard?
Yep.
Where the body was buried.
Right next to it.
That's just a little weird.
They initial over where his body's buried, then they get married next to it. Fucking gross. And apparently on her wedding night, she became upset. She took the pink .38 caliber gun that she kept on her nightstand and locked herself in the bathroom. A family member had to talk her down. And she had always kept that gun on her nightstand. But in October of 2017, she sold that to her neighbor. He still had it, so he was able to turn that over to the cops.
Good for the neighbor.
Yeah. Now, they did test the gun, but they couldn't say whether it was the murder weapon or not. Don't forget that this was not the only .38 caliber gun that she had in the house when Mike was killed. She actually had access to 4 different ones at the time.
Man, they really like 38s.
They like a .38.
Good night.
And we know that she was selling off guns after that, so it's likely she sold the murder weapon. We also know that the pink one was the one used in the September of 2014 domestic incident. There's a whole thing about this because the cops got called, he did get arrested. But there's stories where, he said she was coming at him with a gun and he had to take it away from her. She says he was coming at her with a gun and she had to take it away from him. So it's literally the complete opposites. Either way, she hit him on the head with her gun and it caused a laceration. But he was the one who was charged in that incident. Now, if she was able to hit him on the head with her gun, I would think that she was the one that had the damn gun.
Well, I mean, this right here falls back into, it's one of them gray areas where domestic violence is always perceived as, if there's
the male against the female.
The male against the female, because the male, they always say that, the male would be more dominant or whatever in that situation, which is not always the damn case.
And we always hear too, oh, she's just a little bitty woman. She couldn't do any damage. They sure can. She busted his head open with a gun.
I mean, I'm in fear of my life all the time.
Stop your face.
I'm just saying. Help me.
Oh my God, stop. You wait till we stop recording. No, I'm just kidding.
See what I'm saying? That's what I have to deal with every day, people.
You poor thing.
Oh my God.
Yep.
It's on recording.
Let me get my small violin out for you.
I got proof now.
I can edit that out. Now, this wasn't the only physical altercation they had either. Co-worker Corey said that he came to work about 3 to 4 months before he disappeared with bruises on his face, arms, and chest. He said Laurie got mad And when he asked why he didn't fight back or defend himself, Mike said it wasn't worth it. Mike had also talked about a previous time that she had thrown something at him, missed, and it went through the kitchen window.
And look, and I know I joke about this all the time with Amy and all this stuff. And I know it's actually a really serious thing.
100%, yeah.
So, I mean, warnings out there, that I don't want to like trip nobody up and try to, trigger anything or anything
We're
like that.
not being insensitive.
I'm not being insensitive. I joke with Amy all the time.
Because it's ridiculous.
Because, with me and her, it's not like that. I mean, no, she's not holding a gun to me right now.
Whoops, I'll put this down.
But
I'm just kidding. See, this is our sense of humor. I'm sorry.
But, I mean, it's how we've been together for 26 years.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if something was happening, one of us would have left by now.
We'd have done something.
Yeah.
But anyway. You'd be in the backyard under the fire pit.
But, I mean, in this case right here, it sounds like she was the aggressor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it for sure. Which is, like we just talked about, usually the case. And like he said, it wasn't worth it to fight back because then he would have caught another charge just trying to defend himself. That's how it works. Sad. So now we're in 2017. And this is when she tells friends that Mike was following her. And she had to have the cops search her truck and cell phone, looking for trackers that Michael could have installed. And the cops are still talking to friends and his family. And his friend Mary said that sometime in either 2014 or 2015, he messaged her, "She wants my life insurance." Mary said, "Well, she's got to kill you first." To which Michael said, "She tried yesterday, I'm sure." So I'm wondering if that was after she busted his head open with her gun, because that was in 2014. They couldn't pin down a time because, while she had the messages to show them they were on an old phone, and I guess it didn't show the dates. I guess I don't know how that worked back then. Now, in March of 2017, Mike, with my Air Bunnies, posted a picture on his Facebook page of him fishing, and his friends knew that that picture had been taken a couple years before that. So it wasn't a recent picture like they were trying to portray it to be. Now, we need to speed this up. So let's talk about boyfriends and girlfriends.
His or hers?
Both.
Oh.
Yeah. So they apparently split up at one point. Mike was staying in a hangar at Disney, and he started seeing a coworker, Kendall, from November 2014 to May of 2015. According to Kendall, Laurie had told him that he was not allowed to see anyone else, even though she was. And she witnessed Laurie on the phone saying that she would use the kids as pawns to get what she wanted. Kendall got constant threats through Facebook messages, calling her a home wrecker. And Laurie called Kendall's mom at 3 a.m. asking for Kendall, so she's just doing dumb shit. In April of 2015, Laurie took it to Disney HR. She went and told the Disney cops. And Mike started doing things like going to the hangar before he'd go to Kendall's to try to keep from being followed. He told Kendall to park in a different lot one day because Laurie was coming with a gun. Finally, in May, it became too much, so Kendall broke it off. Michael went back to Laurie. I imagine that he thought that it was just easier on everybody else if he was the only one that Laurie was focused on. That's so sad. When Kendall heard about Michael being missing, she went to Facebook and messaged him. She said it showed that he was living in Afghanistan. And the response she got was, "I left." She asked what about his kids, and she never got a response.
So Laurie sounds very controlling.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she doesn't want him to be happy either.
No.
So Laurie was dating somebody.
She dated several people, yeah.
While Michael was dating somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he wasn't allowed to.
He was not allowed to. Only she was.
Well, that's very one-sided.
Yes. Well, this is what happens with narcissists. Like, I get what I want, but fuck you and what you want.
Yeah.
One of Laurie's many men was Jeremy Townsend. They started dating in September of 2015, so this is while Mike is still alive and living at the house. And she had told him that she had left her husband. Now, the first time he actually came to her house wasn't until December, so after Mike died. She was wearing jeans that had stains on the thigh. He asked her if that was blood on her jeans. And he said Laurie changed and never wore those jeans again, even though they were a favorite pair that she wore like 3 times a week. And Jeremy was also married to a woman named Vanessa. And starting in February of 2016, so a month before the fire pit was built, Vanessa started getting Facebook messages from Mike's account, but she didn't read them until she got flowers at work in April. And the card read, "Roses are red, violets are blue. My wife is a whore. Your husband is too. Sorry about this. check your Facebook messages. We need to talk, Mike. So she went ahead and checked those messages. And they said he installed a spy app on Laurie's cell phone and saw text and explicit pictures sent between Laurie and Jeremy. Mike gave her the name of a good divorce lawyer. But she said she was staying with Jeremy. So Mike said that he thought Laurie might be pregnant with Jeremy's baby. Vanessa confronted Jeremy and he broke it off with Laurie. So you can see, obviously, this is Laurie doing all the Facebook messages. So what she's trying to do is, we know she's with Travis because he's living there and they're building a fire pit and they're married. But she's still trying to break up Jeremy's marriage so that she can have him too, without him having another woman on the side. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Gross. He thought that this was a purely sexual relationship between him and Laurie. So it was no big deal. He just broke it off and was like, I'm done. But Laurie was taking it much more seriously, indicated by the tattoo of his nickname, Jay, in a heart above her vagina.
Classy.
They did find in their investigation that the flowers that were sent to Vanessa were purchased with Laurie's checking account. And this won't be the last we hear from Jeremy. Finally, on September 17th of 2020, Laurie was arrested.
Wait a damn minute. They dug up his body.
Yeah.
In 2018.
Yes.
But she wasn't arrested until 2020.
Yes.
And, he was in her backyard.
Her backyard, yeah.
Hmm.
It took a while for them to arrest her.
Why?
Well, just because you have a body in your backyard doesn't mean you're a murderer.
Really? Oh, I don't know how my fucking husband got into my backyard of my fucking fire pit.
And I just happened to build a fire pit over it.
I don't know why he's wrapped up in our sheets.
Exactly.
I don't know why he's got a 38 caliber bullet in the back of his head with 38 caliber is the only fucking gun that we carry in our fucking house.
Right.
Good Lord.
I know. The justice system works. Who knows? But she is arrested. And she is charged with second-degree murder and accessory after the fact. You have to go with what you think you can win in cases like this. Yes, she's a shitty person.
Oh, but and they had blood fucking going out
on the track of
on the
door,
track of the fucking door, and there was hair on the fucking door. It was degraded, but there was hair.
Right.
Whatever. Go on. And there was a fucking pile of dirt that was more than 4 fucking inches worth of dirt.
Absolutely.
Whatever. Go on.
Right.
And no, I'm just kidding.
But they don't have a murder weapon. They don't have a confession. What they do have is a pile of circumstantial evidence saying that she probably did it.
Oh, God.
Stop.
Oh,
I'm serious.
God.
You have to think about the court. You've got to present this in court.
They have all the fucking proof right there.
What's the proof that she did it?
He was in her backyard.
Somebody else put that there.
What the fuck ever?
They have to build a case. They can only try you once because we have double jeopardy.
They can go in there and see. They can track phone stuff. They can track your phone records. They can track everything.
Oh, yeah.
Where the fuck did these? All right. So if, was it Vanessa? No.
That's the wife. Who are you thinking of? That's Jeremy's wife.
Yeah. So she was getting messages. They can backtrack all that stuff to see where those are coming from.
Yeah, they did that. They know they came from Laurie.
Oh my God. So, but she said they was from Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because she's
Mike's
pretending
dead.
to be Mike doesn't mean that she killed him.
Oh.
You got to prove that she killed him.
But Mike's dead.
I know.
Exactly.
But she thought he was in Georgia. The look. No. I just got the side eye so hard.
Mike was buried in her backyard. They found him in her backyard.
But she's like, before they found him in the backyard.
This is so damn stupid and everything. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever fucking heard. They're like, oh, they got circumstantial. They got all the evidence.
No, unless you can put a gun in their hand and prove that they did it 100%, you don't want to go to court yet. You have to build it. They got the body on her property, on their property. I know. So she's in there saying, he's in Afghanistan. He's in Georgia. He's over here. New York,
he's over there.
California.
He's over there. Mm-hmm. No, he's still at home.
Yeah, he never left the house.
He never fucking left the house.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, like I said, they have to go with what they can prove in court. They had to build a case. They had to present this because if they try her and they don't have enough and she gets off with it, they can't charge her again. So they go for second-degree murder. And They even set the bail really low. Her bail was set at $50,000, so she was able to bail out. Now, her and her lawyer made a video of them begging for money to help pay for her defense. They were asking for $50,000. Now, she didn't do a GoFundMe. She just linked her PayPal account, so it's not been made public if anyone actually contributed to it. Now, with COVID and shit, the trial was pushed back. But in early 2023, a bombshell was dropped by her attorney. In court, at a hearing, the lawyer said that her now 14-year-old daughter, Isabel, had confessed to killing her dad when she was just 7 years old.
No way. No fucking way.
Yes, fucking way.
No.
Yes. Trial started in September of 2024, and Isabel took the stand. The story now is that Laurie was on the floor and Mike was kicking her when Isabel grabbed the gun and shot him. And then Jeremy, remember the boyfriend? He was now there too in this version of events. I don't know why her husband and her boyfriend are in the same house, but he took the gun from Isabel and fired the actual fatal shot. Now, this man must be a crack shot because there was only one bullet hole found in him. So that means that he would have had to shoot Mike in the exact same spot as Isabel. Or Isabel would have had to shoot in a different spot of his body, and then he shot through the skull, and that's all they could find. But then where's the other bullet? Only one was found with his body. So Jeremy gets on the stand, and he says he was not there that night, and he definitely did not kill anyone. How this woman manipulated her child to confess to killing her own dad, I'll never know, if that's what happened. Which I think it is, since Isabel's story had changed multiple times. Laurie says that Jeremy said he would take care of it, and Laurie left. But she didn't feel like that she was gone long enough for him to have dug a hole that size once they told her the dimensions.
So even she is questioning her own made-up story.
Yeah, she's poking holes in her own story.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
7-year-old child.
7-year-old child, yeah.
I mean.
Now she's 14, so, I mean.
Whatever.
She knows the difference.
At this point, the damn child is just thinking, I don't want to lose another parent, probably.
Maybe.
So she's just thinking that she can say whatever, and she's a juvenile, so she'll get a lesser. That too. And the manipulation has probably been happening her whole life. So she's probably just used to Laurie. Probably.
Doing dumb shit.
But I mean, that's probably what her mom's saying. If you admit to it, then you won't have a bad fucking charge or anything like that because you're a juvenile. Right. You were only 7. And this really happened when you were 7 years old. So you was actually too young to realize what you did. Right. They say 7 is like the age. It used to be. I don't know if it still is. I'll have to look that up. But anybody under 7 couldn't actually commit a crime because they don't know the difference between right and wrong properly. But after 4 hours of deliberation, the jury found Laurie guilty. Well, good. At least the jury is fucking smart. They're like, we're tired of this shit too. Before sentencing, a friend of Mike's wrote a letter to the court saying Laurie's inhuman, ruthless, and savage actions, and especially her lack of any repentance, indicate that she will never change. And the judge thought so too. So a week ago, on November 26th of 2024, she was sentenced to life. And the appeal has already been filed, as they do. But that's it. Good Lord. I know. Fucking get your child to fucking try to admit that. This poor girl. Like I said, she's probably been manipulated her whole life. So this is just what she knows. It's what she's used to. She probably doesn't see anything wrong with it. That's crazy. I know. But she gone. Yeah, she's gone. All right, well, that's it for this one, guys. And don't forget that if you guys want to help us out, we do have Cash App. So $murder WTM. Yep, we'll get it put on the Facebook and stuff too. And don't forget to tell your friends and everybody you know. Like, share, subscribe as always. Till next time. Bye.